In a land called Israel, a king named Ahab ruled the people. He was supposed to lead them to follow the God of their ancestors, the God of Abraham and Moses. But King Ahab married a queen named Jezebel, and she worshipped a different god, a pretend god made of wood and stone named Baal. Queen Jezebel wanted everyone to worship Baal. She said Baal was the god of rain and storms and growing things. King Ahab did not stop her. He even built a big temple for Baal in the capital city. He let Jezebel feed and protect hundreds of prophets of Baal, the men who said they spoke for this false god. Many of the people of Israel became confused. They tried to worship the Lord God sometimes and Baal other times. They forgot the powerful God who had rescued them from Egypt. But God was watching. He sent his prophet, a man named Elijah, to give a message to King Ahab. Elijah walked right into the king's palace with no army, only the courage God gave him. He said to the king, "As surely as the Lord, the God of Israel, lives, the God I serve, there will be no dew or rain for the next few years, not even a single drop, unless I say so." Elijah was saying that the true God, not Baal, was in charge of the weather and the sky. Then Elijah left because he knew the angry king would want to arrest him. Just as Elijah said, the rain stopped. The clouds disappeared. Day after day, the sun beat down on the land. The streams dried up into dusty ditches. The grass turned brown and crunched underfoot. The crops in the fields withered and died. A terrible famine, which is a time when there is no food, came upon the whole kingdom. People and animals grew weak and hungry, and everyone wondered, where was the mighty Baal now? Why couldn't the God of rain make it rain? During this long and hungry time, God took care of his prophet Elijah. He told Elijah to go hide by a little stream in the wilderness. Every morning and every evening, big black birds called ravens would fly to Elijah. Amazingly, they would bring him bread and meat in their beaks. Elijah drank water from the bubbling stream. It was a quiet, lonely place, but God was providing for him. After a while, even that stream dried up because of the long drought. Not a single drop of water was left in the rocky bed. Then God spoke to Elijah again. He said, "Go at once to a town called Zarephath. I have commanded a widow there to supply you with food." A widow is a woman whose husband has died, and in those days, this meant she was very poor. When Elijah arrived at the town gate, he saw a woman gathering sticks for a fire. He asked her for a little water and a piece of bread. The woman turned to him, her face tired and sad. She said, "I swear by the Lord your God, I don't have any bread. I have only a handful of flour in a jar and a little oil in a jug. I am gathering these sticks to make one last meal for my son and myself. After we eat it, we will lie down and die, because we have nothing left." Elijah said to her, "Don't be afraid. Go home and do as you have said, but first make a small loaf of bread for me from what you have. Then make some for yourself and your son. For this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. The jar of flour will not be used up, and the jug of oil will not run dry until the day the Lord sends rain on the land." The woman trusted Elijah's words. She went and did exactly what he told her to do, and a wonderful miracle happened. Every day when she went to her jar of flour, there was just enough for that day. Every day when she went to her jug of oil, there was just enough for that day. It was never empty. For many, many days, God used the faithful hands of a poor widow to feed his prophet, and her family did not go hungry. After 3 long years, the word of the Lord came to Elijah again. God said, "Go and present yourself to King Ahab, and I will send rain on the land." So Elijah went to find the king. When King Ahab saw Elijah, he was very angry. He shouted, "Is that you, you troublemaker of Israel?" Elijah answered bravely, I have not made trouble for Israel. You and your father's family are the troublemakers. You have abandoned the Lord's commands and have followed the fake gods called Baals." Then Elijah gave a royal command of his own. He said, "Now summon all the people of Israel to meet me on Mount Carmel, and bring the 450 prophets of Baal who eat at Queen Jezebel's table." The king did as Elijah asked. Soon a huge crowd of people, along with all the prophets of Baal, gathered on the tall, rocky slopes of Mount Carmel. Elijah stood before all the people and spoke in a loud, clear voice. He said, "How long will you wobble back and forth between two choices? If the Lord is the real God, then follow him. But if Baal is the real God, then follow him." The people did not say a word. They just stood there quietly. Elijah told them his plan for a great contest, a test to see who was the one true God. He said, "I am the only prophet of the Lord left, but Baal has 450 prophets. Get 2 bulls for us. Let Baal's prophets choose 1 bull for themselves. Let them cut it into pieces and put it on the wood of their altar, but they must not set fire to it. Then I will prepare the other bull and put it on the wood on my altar, but I will not set fire to it. Then you prophets of Baal pray to your God, and I will pray to the Lord. The God who answers by sending fire to burn up the sacrifice, he is the real God." All the people shouted, "What you say is good. Let's do it." The prophets of Baal went first. They prepared their bull and placed it on their altar. From morning until noon, they danced around the altar, shouting, "Baal, answer us! Baal, hear us!" But there was no sound, no answer, nothing at all. They hopped and jumped and yelled louder. Elijah began to tease them. He said, "Shout louder. Surely he is a god. Maybe he is thinking hard about something. Maybe he has gone on a trip. Maybe he is taking a nap and needs to be woken up." So the prophets of Baal shouted even louder. They started cutting themselves with swords and spears until their blood flowed, which was something they did in their wild worship. They carried on this way all afternoon, but still there was no response from Baal. Their altar of stones sat cold and silent under the sun. Finally, Elijah said to all the people, "Come here to me." They gathered around. Elijah took 12 stones, 1 for each of the 12 tribes of Israel, and he rebuilt the old altar of the Lord that had been torn down. He dug a deep ditch all around the altar. He carefully arranged the wood on the altar. Then he cut his bull into pieces and laid the pieces on the wood. Then he did a very strange thing. He told the people, "Fill 4 large jars of water and pour it on the offering and on the wood." They did it. He said, "Do it a second time." They did it again. He said, "Do it a third time." They did it a third time. The water poured down over the sacrifice and the wood. It filled up the ditch he had dug. Everything was absolutely soaking wet. There was no possible way for a human to light this sacrifice on fire. When it was time for the evening sacrifice, the prophet Elijah stepped up to the altar. He prayed a simple prayer. He said, "Lord, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, let it be known today that you are God in Israel and that I am your servant. Let these people know that you, Lord, are God and that you are turning their hearts back to you again." The moment Elijah finished his prayer, a blazing fire from the Lord flashed down from the sky. It burned up the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, the soil, and it even licked up all the water in the ditch. The people saw it and their eyes grew wide with wonder and fear. They fell down flat on their faces and shouted together, "The Lord, He is God! The Lord, He is God!" Elijah pointed to the prophets of Baal and said, "Seize them." The people did, and the fake prophets were taken away, ending their lies over the land. Elijah then said to King Ahab, "Go, eat and drink, because I hear the sound of a heavy rain coming." While Ahab went to his feast, Elijah climbed back to the top of Mount Carmel. He bent down to the ground and put his face between his knees to pray. He sent his servant to look toward the sea. The servant looked and said, "There is nothing there."
7 times Elijah told him to go look. The 7th time, the servant said, "I see a little cloud as small as a man's hand rising from the sea." Elijah told him, "Go and tell King Ahab to get in his chariot and go home before the rain stops him." In a very short time, the sky grew black with clouds, a strong wind began to blow, and a huge, heavy rainstorm fell on the dry, cracked land. After 3 years of silence, the heavens finally opened. The drought was over. God had won the great spiritual battle, showing his mighty power and his great mercy to a people who had forgotten him.